The zones of regulation was developed by an occupational therapist named Leah M. Kuypers. Through this approach, children learn to recognize and communicate how they are feeling in a safe, non-judgmental way. It uses colors to describe different states and feelings and provides strategies and tools to help them move between the zones. The zones of regulation is a framework to teach children self-regulation. Through this program, children can learn how to be in the best state of both body and mind for each individual situation. Emotions are divided up into 4 colors: blue, green, yellow, and red. Let's go through them one at a time and dive a little deeper. The blue zone is a state of low alertness. In this zone, you might describe your body or brain as moving slowly or sluggishly. Some of the emotions included in this zone are sad, tired, sick, and bored. The green zone involves a regulated state of alertness. There is a strong sense of internal control, and this is generally the zone that children need to be in for learning and social interactions. A person in the green zone is described as calm, happy, focused, or content. The yellow zone is a heightened state of alertness with decreasing internal control. Emotions and body states are becoming more elevated, so you may see things like wiggling, squirming, or sensory-seeking behaviors. Some of the emotions associated with the yellow zone are frustration, anxiety, excitement, silliness, and fear. The red zone is an extremely heightened state of alertness. In this zone, there are very intense feelings and often a loss of control. Some of the emotions in this zone are anger, rage, panic, extreme grief, and elation. Let's pause here for a moment because there is something important to keep in mind. There is no such thing as a bad zone. Everyone experiences all zones at one time or another. Instead of thinking of them as good or bad, let's think about them as being appropriate at specific times and not so appropriate during others. We can also think about the appropriate ways to handle the emotions that we're experiencing in a certain zone. Sometimes we get stuck in the trap of making the red or yellow zones the bad zones, but there are appropriate times for these zones, just like the others. Think about being a child on Christmas morning or on your first trip to Disneyland. The excitement and elation you feel is overwhelming. This puts you in the red zone, but it is very appropriate for that moment. Alternatively, imagine that your brother has broken your favorite toy. This makes you furious, but instead of throwing the broken toy at him, there are more appropriate ways to deal with your emotions. With the zones of regulation, your child will learn how to identify what zone is expected and how to move into the zone that is appropriate at that time. Now that we know what the zones are and what emotions are paired with each color, let's learn how to teach them to our child. Step 1 is to model the zone's language. This is brand new information for your child, so they will need to hear how you use the zone's language before you can expect them to start doing the same. Try talking about your own feelings. You might say, "I'm frustrated. I'm in the yellow zone right now." Label the feelings of other people, characters in books and movies, or toys when you're playing together. Talk about how you know someone feels a certain way. You might tell your child that you can tell Dad is happy because he's smiling, or that you know Peppa is sad because she's crying. This will help your child begin to identify emotions in others. Step 2 is to talk about the tools that you, as an adult, use to be in the appropriate zone. Tools can be used to move between the zones or to stay in the current zone. Talk about what strategy or tool you will use to be in the appropriate zone. These tools are different for everyone. As adults, we know ourselves well and know what we need to move between the zones. Explain to your child the tools that you are using to move between the zones. For example, you might say to your child, I'm in the blue zone because I'm tired. I need to be in the green zone, so I will go for a walk to wake myself up. Step 3 is to talk about the zone your child is in. Identifying emotions in yourself is always more difficult than identifying them in others. This is the same for your child. When modeling the language for your child, try to leave it open for them to add in their own ideas. Some children will deny that they are in a certain zone because you suggested it. But if you use less certain language, they may be more open to what you're telling them. For example, you could say, "You look sleepy. You might be in the blue zone." Or, "I see your arms are crossed and your face looks mad. Maybe you're in the red zone." Step 4 is to teach your child what zones tools they can use. Each child will respond differently to every tool. It may take some detective work from you to figure out what tools are most effective for your child. Tools don't have to be something brand new. They can be as easy as the activities that are already a part of your daily routines. For example, at bedtime, telling your child that it's time to sit in the rocking chair and read a story is a natural way to get them moving into the blue zone. Because the zones themselves are neutral, make sure to praise your child when they are in an appropriate zone for the current situation. The next zones video will go into detail about the tools and how to use them. When teaching the zones of regulation, visuals are a great resource to help your child learn. Visuals help your child get the information in a different way, and they do not disappear like spoken words do. Your child is able to look back at the visuals if they need a reminder. You can use visuals to support the zones of regulation in a variety of ways. Here are a few ideas. A zones poster can help your child learn what feelings belong in each zone. A tools choice board allows your child to pick which tool will help them move between the zones in that moment. A breathing visual can give them something to focus on while slowing their breath. When it comes to visuals, be creative and think about what will best suit your child. The most important thing to keep in mind when teaching the zones of regulation is that you are in the most appropriate zone to teach. Just like it is hard to learn when you are tired, frustrated, or angry, it is also hard to teach when you are experiencing these emotions. Take time for yourself and make sure to use your own tools so that you are in the green zone when working through these new ideas with your child. Let's make a plan to practice the zones of regulation at home. How and when will you model the zones of regulation language? What strategies or tools are already working to help your child change zones? What visuals could you use to support your child's learning? What strategies or tools help you to be in the most appropriate zone to teach?